Welcome everyone to the current energetic reading. Now, this may apply for this upcoming week as today is Sunday, May 10th of 2026. So it may apply to this week's energies, current energies, or energies that tie in to the recent present and the foreseeable future that is upcoming, as everything is cyclical and does apply the past into the present and into the future. The past does not define the present or the future. All we have is a foreseeable future, but especially the present. But you take elements from each and what is healthy, mindful, and be aware of, especially in this human life existence that we're all living with or in and interacting with. Um, and as life in the world and the collective challenges us, the energies of work, no matter what that might look for us, our relationships, our home life, our careers, our experiences, our spiritual paths, no matter what path we may walk with, work with, or what we're trying to embody, what we're trying to grow and release, and just to be better versions of ourselves and do the best we can in this ever challenging life and circumstances, but the best to be adaptable and fluid in a healthy way while still acknowledging and not bypassing things. That's going to be part of the message this week I'm directed at. So this week, without further ado, the actual decks that come forth this week, she hasn't been used or made an appearance in a bit, is the Ophidia Rosa by Lila and Olive, one of my favorite decks. I actually have 3 decks by her, but this is my favorite and most used. But she does have a specific purpose, so that's why she doesn't come forth as much as she did say in the past. But she has made previous channel appearances. This one's of no surprise, but it's not the Haunted Manor Oracle this week. But I have used this quite frequently and mentioned this as one of my top 5 favorites, is Purgatorium Hex, which is also another indie deck. It is by Mr. Freiborg. It is an amazing deck. It's out of print, but yes, it's cheeky, it's fun, it's interesting, it's unique, much like my magic and much like my guidance says. Um, it also gives different perspective, but also sometimes brings some laughter to it. So this is an interesting deck. Not everyone's cup of tea or cup of wine, so to say, or even cup of coffee, but it's mine and it's fun. Plus, it matches the coloring that seems for this week. And lastly, the other oracle that's being used at Step Forth this week is the beautiful These Blue Bones Oracle by Rose Bay. Of course, everyone knows who Rose Bay is. She's an amazing creatrix, and then on Tarot Tube and just overall. So, yes. But I call this deck my Moody Blues deck. Just because she's got so much blue in it. She's moody, much like myself, much like life is. Much like magic and spirituality can be and day-to-day life circumstances. So those are the 3 decks that step forth for this week. So this is an energetic reading. Now this again can apply to this current week, your current situation, what might be upcoming, tie in. So whenever you view this, whether it's now or sometime in the future, I do know that my readings do always hold different pieces and nuggets of wisdom that may apply to that, whether it's 5 weeks from now or several weeks after that, or maybe 2 years from now. It is things find us when they're meant to and when we're ready to, or things that maybe we have to acknowledge and embrace. So, with that being said, before this gets too long and rambly as I'm channeling, as usual, I connect with my guides, deities, and the universe itself and my gifts. It's all conjunctive. So, basically, this week, this is an interesting energy. I got 3, 2, 1 from the top and 2 from the bottom as I was guided, as I pre-shuffle and get an idea of the cards now. That's how I read for the collective. So we have here all court cards. So off the top was the Queen of Cups. Now this deck is very unique, as the creatrix, her decks are very garden-based, floral, nature, this deck has a lot of serpent energy, which we know if you watched any of my previous videos for a hot minute, you'll know that that's one of my major components of my energetic focus and magical path working, and just my womanhood, that Kundalini energy and spiritual. But we have here the Queen of Cups. The perspective is not, it's not necessarily or fits into the right traditional rider weight system, nor does it the Thoth. She just has her own voice, her own artistic, and her own perspective and perception, which is what I like. Things that make me think, evoke and invoke emotions, energy, things that are not traditional, but can be traditional, but have different interpretations and resonance. So if you see the cards and you feel something else that comes up, that's great. Exercise those intuitive muscles, so they say. What came off the bottom, and again, these were shuffled, so it's not like they weren't, the King of Cups. So there we go. We already have 2 cups. One on the surface with the Queen of Cups and underneath the King of Cups. So two cups. So this current week, and this current overall for this collective and whomever this may resonate with, the guidance, the energies, and what to be most mindful, aware of is emotions, emotional flow, kind of like last week's reading was emotional flow, the current of energies and perceptions that are in as part of this. Now, this is archetypal energies as we got quartz, so it can be something that you're embracing, needing to embrace, or have been and are working through. Presently, the people around you that might be assisting you, the energies, just life itself. We all have relationships, no matter how many people we interact with each day, or the spirits we might work with, our faith, our systems, the deity or deities we work with, depending on your path and your path working in your experience, to each their own. But there also could be a big baseline on people. And that's what this court card is, because the third card that was from the bottom is one of my favorite Queen of Swords of all time. Of course, you can see why. The serpent front and center, but also I identify as an archetypal energy and always have, um, as when I get readings also from others. It's always been the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is another court card, so yes, very peoply energy, so to say. Um, Very connected energy. Queen of Swords, though, unlike the Cups, the swords have to do with the element of air, like earth, air, fire, water, and ether, as spiritual saints, but she as air. So she as discernment, logic, voice, truth, clarity, exercising wisdom, but also authority, not letting other saints get into her pot, so to say, meaning others' energies, emotions, situations, or how other people may come at you or the world comes at you, responsibilities, obligations, health issues, personal issues, what we have to deal with each moment of each day and overall. The Queen of Swords has a lot of discernment. She can often detach herself from other things, but in a healthy, empowered way. So the 3 tarot cards here are telling me that there needs to be a continuous connection between the heart, the emotions, the relationships, but being clear, continuing to learn, continuing to cut away like the Queen of Swords does. The Queen of Cups being on the top or the surface means this collective and whom this may resonate with and does find, and when it's meant to find them, is intuition. You are very much reflective. This collective is very has a lot of sensitivity, feeling, awareness, and is aware of the relationships and their interaction and how connections is. She values the Queen of Cups just like this collective does. Emotional relationship experiences impact much more than say other people in this world. So it's more empathetic energies. That is a blessing in so many ways. because it's much valuable. The world needs way more of that and way more people with that energy, but it's also intuition. But it's also saying you need to discern your feelings and what energies and intuitions coming in by the Queen of Swords. So we're marrying in the Queen of Swords with logic, truth, and discernment, and continuously learning from our experiences and what is coming into us by that Queen of Cups. So, what are we feeling? What are we seeing and perceiving? And our perceptions, but also having clear perspective to protect ourselves, what is ours, speak our truth, and filtering when what we know is right, not what others tell us is right. Um, and also from that comes those two queens is a healthy King of Cups. Now, King of Cups is where the Queen of Cups evolves into. So it's the intuitive sensitivity that he holds and the emotional intelligence that he holds, kind of like the Queen of Swords, but it's also being cognitive of those relationships. It's exercising emotional intelligence, maturity, understanding through clear perspective, perceptions, and acknowledging those feelings and letting them flow, but also letting them be caught and fall away. So it's marrying the heart and the mind in a healthy, effective way. That's the current energies and messages from the tarot. Now, to come with that, though, is this. Now, from Purgatorium Hex, her message or clarifying assistant oracle is not only are those energies that you're going to embody or continuing to embody, this collective is, but you're also going to be, those are people in your life. So there is a good and bad side to every card, every situation, two sides, sometimes three sides to every story, more than likely. Things are not seen. So those have very positive qualities you embody. Some people may not so much that you're dealing with, where you've got to have that Queen of Swords discernment um, or in your life situations. But this Purgatorium Hex and the question I'm getting, and my guides are saying, is where do you feel bound to? Now, bound to duty, bound to situations, traumas, past. What do others make you feel bound to? The obligations and relationships that are not healthy any longer, that you do need to take away and cut away that perception, like the Queen of Swords, and have enough emotional intelligence to face through that. That doesn't mean putting up with anything. It's marrying the nice amount of feelings and intuition you have on it. But what is time, what are you being bound to that is no longer yours? This has been the message for this collective for quite a while and will continue to be for as I'm part of this collective. But what is it that you're feeling bound to? What duties, what perceptions and perspectives, what do you need to find a clear perspective on? What do you have to hold as a responsibility, a job, a caregiver, taking care of yourself, moving through health issues, these ever horrible gas prices here in the US, and grocery prices and bills, and not having enough, and continuing to try to focus on our present and to our future. But what do you feel bound to? Or what it has a hold over you. Remember is there is responsibilities and duties we almost face so we can continue to survive and thrive for ourselves and each other and what matters, but you're not bound by obligation to every relationship or experience, especially those things of the past. And you do have to have a clear stand for yourself, like the combination of the air and water elements, the flow, the discernment. Has to be a healthy amount of being bound into too, okay? So don't let others bind you by duty and relationship or even your own feelings or emotions. Don't stick to one thing. Have more fluidity, so to say. Adaptive. I can't talk. Adaptability through change. Yes, what you see is what you get with me. And calling. So that's the other card from Purgatorium Hex that came out. So calling. So this is telling me that this is saying calling. What is calling you? What has been calling you? has been what's calling you. What is still your last week was about the reading that came up. If you want to check that out, I have that in the playlist. Is about stepping over the threshold. Most, I do believe in this collective, has made leaps and bounds since that last reading before the week and has done what they need to do and is continuing to. But you need to look at what's calling you, not what you're bound to, but what's calling you. As you're moving more still the step threshold, not everyone has it, I feel, has had that capability and is still in the transitory phase. I will get to that when I bring up the Moody Blues deck. But it is saying this current time period, current week, however this may apply, or when you find this, is saying what is calling you, whether it's a new job, a new hobby, a new experience, a new health regimen, oh wow, rituals, new relationships, past working, understanding how to better ourselves, to feel more fulfilled, maybe realigning our finances so that we can feel a little less heavier in the wallet or circumstances, and to be able to allocate our time, our energies, and efforts much better. But what is calling to bring fulfillment to your life as a person, but also as a spiritual being and our soul, our life, our magic, our truth, our day to day that gets us? What is truly calling you? What is the truth behind of what you're actually trying to do? And as the Queen of Swords says, that you're feeling in your heart and your soul. Be mature about it. That's the message for that. And finally, that wraps up and ties up. 3 cards came out. Now, I've gotten these 3 cards in these blue bones. Recently, I did Shuffler, and this is, but so it's pointing a message for me, but this will also tie into the message, and it also ties into the cards, because others mean well in many cases and are ingrained and have things you're dealing with too, but they also make you feel bound to things. So, what are you calling to release the binds of? And what are you discerning and having emotional intelligence, clarity, and embracing your intuition and having more faith and trust in yourself and your experiences? But this is so. What is the cornerstone right now? That's the takeaway or the guidance. What is the cornerstone of your life? Or the cornerstones you're trying to rebuild and have been rebuilding, and you want to rebuild for the foreseeable future? That's all we have, is to do the best we can. But what is the cornerstone of your faith, your truth, your life, your day to day material? Most focus on what's going to happen to me with like the right hand path religions, for example, focus on what's going to happen to me after we die. None of us truly know that. It's more of a faith and belief system. Um, you can't cling on to that. You have to live in this body, the experience, and enjoy what you can and do the best you can. But what's the cornerstone of your life and what you're looking to build? And the cornerstone of your beliefs of what you felt bound to. Continue to shed and release, much like the serpent energy of the Queen of Swords. Now, that came up in this. The in-between, look at this. So this is the in-between liminal. So there goes the threshold, like I said. Transitory, change, evolution. We're still somewhat stuck in the middle. Even stepping over the threshold, it's still part of the liminal phase, sort of the void or abyssal phase of energies, or just day-to-day life. So you're in between relationships, you're in between experiences and what you're bringing in. But remember that there's a lot of fruitfulness that you can work through your own personal darkness, your dark night of the soul, so they say. But it's also so much you can learn about yourself, and you can heal about yourself and retrieve and empower for yourself. So if you feel stuck in between, continue just to keep going forward despite the uncertainty. And lastly, thoughts can be spiraling. You need to find and not let others send you into spiraling. That means thoughts, feelings, overthinking, overwhelm, past traumas, experiences, fear of the future, because none of us knows what that is, like I said. But having faith in yourself and that you can do this and things are what they're meant to be. Um, Be mindful and aware of in this current energies of not spiraling due to what you're bound to and called to. There's a conflict within ourselves with the outside and inner world. We need to figure out the outside and inner world with logic, truth, clarity, but healthy emotional perspective. And that's the current message and energies for this week, but just overall, as this ties into everything. So it's a current energetic reading. That's how mine go. So I do hope that you're all doing well. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. And of course, I hope you all have an effective, empowered week and overall time frame. And stay strange.